on YouTube.
Right.
Your audience will see it in a moment. Get ready, is what YouTube says. It says it. It says your audience will see it in a moment. Get ready. Get ready.
Keep refreshing.
Starting.
Live now. That's Diablo.
Yeah, the thumbnail's still Call of Duty, which kind of sucks. I should have changed that.
Yeah.
I don't see it on the page yet.
Nothing yet.
I know. It still says, get ready. Get ready. So get ready. Get ready. You are live.
Woo!
Let me refresh one more time just to make sure. So get ready. Yep. Oh, great. Awesome. Get ready. Okay.
Hey, it's cool.
What's up, everyone? This is Matt, that's Dan, and that's Opie over there, and you are watching our live Game of Thrones after show. We just finished watching Season 6, Episode 2, and we definitely have a lot of stuff to talk about. Spoiler alert, I'm sure if you're watching this, you've already watched that, but we're going to run through all the crazy stuff that happened because there was more than one crazy thing that happened, and we're going to talk about some stuff. I don't know, some of our thoughts about it.
What's everybody's overall opinion of it? I still have trouble finding it, but go ahead. Keep going.
I think it's awesome.
It's another good episode.
It was another good episode. It was, you know how we said last week that the season premiere was a good, it had every storyline was in it, and it was a good setup for every single storyline. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but this one had every storyline in it too, right? Was there anything left out? Well, Daenerys wasn't in there.
You didn't have Dorne.
Yeah, Dorne. But, whichever ones we did have, and we'll go through them, those were good continuations of the setups we got for each one last week. So I liked it. I mean, I think it's starting off real strong.
Yep, I agree. This is a really fun episode, and we're going to go through everything that happened because it's super important and awesome.
And you know what? Just another thing, another Game of Thrones rule of thumb. If you're an important character, you're probably going to be a dead character. So let's just
at some point in time.
At some point in time, no one is safe. Let's just repeat that. That needs to be emphasized.
So here we go. All right, so let's start from the very beginning and shoot our way all the way through the episode step by step. We start out in the God's Wood. In the old tree with the old man, the three-eyed raven and Bran are sitting there, and we get it. They can roll their eyes back. That's funny. It takes us to the past, where Bran gets to watch his uncle and his dad sword fighting in the yard, and he gets to see his aunt Lyanna come riding in, who's the oldest of the three, and then Arden's the middle kid, and then Bingen is the youngest. I guess to watch him do a little bit of fighting. We see Hodor, who is Willis. Didn't know that. Who is actually talking and doesn't have an issue of just saying his own name. You see old Nan. You get to see their battle master, still with the chops as well, which was really cool. I like that they did that. And Bran just doesn't want to leave because he wants to be there with his family. He loves seeing the younger versions of everybody he knows and how happy they are. But the Raven tells him he can't stay for long and they've got to get out of there. They take him out. And Bran's kind of like, why do you always take me out of this stuff? He's like, because you can't live in those. It's just a vision of the past.
Well, I like what he said, that it's very pretty under the sea, but if you stay too long, you'll drown.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. And
unless you're Aquaman.
so we go over there, and Bran's like,
Well, I thought you were going to move on to the next.
Oh, no. We're still there.
Okay.
So Bran's talking to Hodor, and Hodor's saying Hodor. So they have a great conversation like they always do. But he wants to go see Mira. Mira's sitting outside the cave, and he goes out to talk to her about the war that's coming, and she seems lost in thought, like, I don't want to stay in this cave and watch these people. And Bran goes back in, and one of the children of the forest is sitting out there talking to her and kind of tells her, like, he's going to need you. He's really important, and he's going to need you when he leaves this place. So to make her feel, because right now she's like, I just sit there watching warg out. That's all I do. This is boring. And I'm stuck in there talking to Hodor, who's not a great conversationalist. So we go from there. We jump back to the wall. And
Well, hang on, wait.
Whoa.
So before we move on from Bran, so we didn't get any of Bran last week. That was the one storyline that we didn't get. But I think that this is the most, I kind of feel like this is the most interesting one because I feel like this is the one that is going to have more of a, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like more of a lasting effect, or this one's going to be the one that foreshadows, this storyline is going to be the one that foreshadows what's really coming. So everybody else is fighting and bickering amongst themselves about who's going to be the king, but we all know that there's a much larger thing, the White Walkers, and that's the real thing that's coming that we've barely gotten a taste of. And I kind of feel like the Bran storyline is what's going to lead us into that.
Probably.
Because
you're also going to get a lot of the history of Westeros with him. You're going to get the hopefully R plus L equals J.
Yes, that too. I'm glad you said it because I think he saw. That's the first time we've seen Lyanna.
Yes.
Even though she was younger, but I think that will. I think that might, if we continue to see these flashbacks, I kind of think that might lead us into what eventually happens with Ned and Lyanna and Rhaegar and all that stuff. Did I say Rhaegar?
Rhaegar.
Okay, was Lyanna way back in episode 1? Was she the one that Ned and they were talking about down in the crypt?
Yes.
It was the betrothed to Robert Baratheon.
Right.
But other things happened, and
Yeah.
and that'll come to light later on.
Right.
So okay, we leave that point. We go back to the wall. Jon's still dead.
Or am I?
Alistair's out the door.
He's still like this
"Hey,
right
guys."
now.
Right.
But
It's nighttime. I told you until now. I'm totally gonna let you all go. Seriously.
seriously, I swear.
Even let Ghost go be on the wall. We got lunches packed for everyone. Just come on out. We'll get you guys out of here and get you on the road. And Davos isn't having any of it. He's like, no, they're probably going to try to kill us, which was a good call.
Because they were.
Davos grabs the sword and says, I'm not a fighter, but forgive me for this. And they all get ready, and the doors get beaten down. And all of a sudden, the other doors get beat down to main gates. And a giant comes through it with the wildlings and shows up with Ed. And they kill a couple guys.
which I was really kind of hoping. So Sir Davos, he said, I've never been much of a fighter. I apologize for what you're about to see. I thought he was about to go ape shit on somebody. I mean, I wanted to see him swing that door open and just like take half of them out, which I thought is what we were going to get. But we got the wildlings with the giant, and I thought that was equally as cool because the giant just takes the guy and smacks him against the wall, and that was fantastic. We need more of that.
It's like the Hulk with Loki in freaking Avengers.
Right. Only more violent. Only with more death.
Because Loki was a god. This guy wasn't.
Well,
apparently. So they kill a couple. They take Alistair and Ollie, who we were hoping got stabbed. Take them down to the dungeons, and they're like, you know what? We're taking over here. We're going to take care of this. Blah blah.
So are they imprisoning all of the Night's Watch except for the few that were in the room, or will they be able to separate? Because it wasn't all the Night's Watch that was in on it.
It was like the main instigators. They may talk to the rest to join the side of the wildlings as that goes on down. But Alistair calls Ed a traitor and all this jazz. He's like, no, the people who stabbed him are the traitors. I'm not. So it goes from there. We jump back. We're like in this little corner of this cafe where this gentleman is a little inebriated. He's telling the story of how he flashed Cersei in her walk of shame and how she thought he was hot. Well, he goes to relieve himself, and the mountain shows up and pretty much smashes his head in up against the wall.
There was a lot of face and body smashing against walls in this episode, and I loved it.
Big guys got loose and just crushed.
Right.
It was super awesome. But we go from there, and he goes back up to Cersei's room, and she's kind of hanging out, and she's waiting. The mountain shows back up, so she's going to head to her daughter's funeral. She starts going, she head down there, and then she gets stopped by a bunch of Lannister men. They tell her, no, we can't let you go, even though they are all in heightened alert because the mountain's about to kill them all. It just kind of says, "Hey, just go back to your room. You know, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool." It's your son, the king, does not want you to be there, and it's important because if she steps foot in there, she breaks whatever thing she made with the High Sparrow, so she can go back to prison. And so he's like, to stop any kind of problems, he wants her to stay in the Red Keep. So it jumps from there and it shows Tommen and Jamie standing over their sister who's passed away, and Tommen's kind of sitting there, talking about his mother, and he's kind of like, I couldn't do anything I was supposed to. My mom got caught, my wife got caught, everybody got caught. I was too scared to try anything, or I didn't do what I was supposed to do, and it makes me mad, and that's why I can't stand in front of my mom right now. And he was just all ashamed of everything that was what was going on.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I'm still having trouble when all that stuff went down last season with the High Sparrows. I'm still having trouble figuring out why Tommen I mean, he's the king. Mm-hmm. So why did he allow that? Why didn't he just march
Because
his
he's
entire
a
army
king.
in there and get him? I mean, why?
You can't do that in front of everyone, because if you do, then it can start another uprising where everyone turns on the throne and overthrows the kingdom again. So you have to play the politics. You can't just do that stuff. Plus, he's scared of the High Sparrow because they're adults and he's a kid and they can intimidate him.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't.
Yeah,
know
he is fairly
exactly
weak. He doesn't really know what he's doing. I mean,
right.
God, can you imagine Joffrey? If Joffrey were
man.
still king and all that happened.
Nice. That would be. Yeah, he wouldn't care. He just marches.
He would just have them all executed instantly.
He's like, burn it, just whatever.
Yeah,
they're crap. So it goes there. The High Sparrow shows up, and Tommen leaves, and Jamie is ticked off. He is mad, and he's like, "What is keeping me from just cutting your head off right now? I will take you down." The High Sparrow kind of explains the eyes that they use on the bodies or whatever. All of a sudden, the Sparrow gang show up with their whips and chains and their baseball bats, and they're kind of hanging around the High Sparrow, and he makes mention of, they'll never get to me in time if I wanted to kill you. He's like, oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what, but we're nothing. None of us are anything. Yet we were able to overthrow an empire. And it kind of makes point of, he can do all this. He's got all this power, but he doesn't claim to have any of it, even though he hasn't. It's a nice little statement there.
Well, I kind of took it to mean that they have nothing to lose. I mean, they're nobody. They don't have, like, each one of them have no family. I mean, so what if you kill them? I mean, they have nothing except numbers.
Yep, that's it. And they have power to overthrow a government if they felt like it. So it goes from there, and it goes back to Tommen, and he goes to finally see his mom. And she's kind of distant from him, and then he starts apologizing and explains the whole thing that he had explained to Jamie, and he's kind of like asks her for help because he's like, I'm not as strong, and I should have done these different things, and I never did, and you taught me to do those things. I still didn't do it, and now I feel, like I've let you down, I've let everyone down, and I need you to make me stronger. And so she kind of embraces him and takes him back into the fold there, kind of a forgiving thing. It goes from there. We jump all the way over to the free cities of, is it Marine?
Yes, Marine.
Okay. We see the statues falling from the pyramid, which was done a long time ago. You have Tyrion, Varys, Grey Worm, and Missandei. They're all hanging out, drinking tea, listening to some tunes, just discussing, the day's events. And they talk about the ships, and how the other cities have kind of fallen back under the control of the masters, as opposed to the slaves after she freed all these people. And Tyrion has a great idea. He's like, well, why don't we just let the dragons go? They'll put the fear of God into everything out there. So he and Varys decide to head down and let the dragons go.
It's just
and
crazy.
Yeah, which is really crazy. Varys kind of stays at the door. Tyrion goes in. And he's like, he kind of goes to the dragon. By the way, I thought the dragons looked really awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And Tyrion's kind of talking to him, explaining, his childhood, how he really wanted one, and how he was a friend of their mother, and all this stuff. And he's being very polite and kind, and kind of bowed to him when they first put their heads out. And he releases both of them. Now, they just go back inside and sit down. They don't come out. I don't know if there's a back door to that place that they know about or whatever, but they just kind of go back in, and he kind of walks out, and they leave the door open. And I don't know what that's supposed to symbolize. Like, they're going to just chill until their mom gets back. They just wanted out of the chains.
Yeah, I was confused about
like
that. Yeah, I was confused about that too. Like, did they Is there like a big cargo door in the back that they can fly out of, or are they cool with Tyrion and they don't want to leave?
Yeah.
Or like you said, they didn't want to wait until Daenerys comes back, or I don't
was
know.
waiting for the voice of Sean Connery to show up and say, "Well, Tyrion."
Oh my God, it's like Sean Connery's on the show right now.
Oh wow!
What
I thought Opie was in that third square over there, but
Sorry.
But yeah, it's weird. I don't know if anything's going to come from that or if they're going to leave or anything like that. We get back to old blind Arya hanging out in the street and waff or wave or whatever her name
you mean no one,
oh,
not
yeah,
Arya.
A girl.
A girl has no name.
A girl meets a girl before a man arrives. And a girl beats a girl again.
Again,
Yeah.
Until Arya goes all Star Wars kid in the middle of the street, like she's fighting nobody. And all of a sudden, a man shows up to a girl and asks if a girl knows her name. And the girl says she does not, even though she could have been, the blindness could have been taken away. She could have ate, she could have slept in the house, all the stuff. She decides she's not going to say any of that, and she gets to leave her beggar's cup.
which I mean is
goes
that's
off with a man.
classic tropey test right there. It's like, oh well, if you say your name, you can
Yeah.
you won't be hungry anymore. Nah, I have no name. Well, if you say your name, you can have your sight back. A girl has
Yeah,
no
that was
name.
pretty- what I thought it too is just like, okay, that's just stupid. She's not going to say it. She
Yeah, I
knows
mean
better.
that's obviously a test. I mean,
Super testy. A man tried to test a girl, and we all figured it out. So we go from there, and we're back at the Boltons. And, they're kind of hanging out, having their family business. Ramsay and Roose, they're talking about things. The Karstarks have sent somebody there to talk to them. Ramsay's like, listen, we got the 3 biggest houses in the north. Doesn't matter what the rest do. We're going to roll. We go kill everybody. Roose like, nah. You got to play politics, yada, yada, yada. All of a sudden, the Scepter comes in and he's like, hey, your wife had a baby.
well, hold on. So back up. So Ramsay was talking about. So Roose was telling Ramsay that you can't, or was it the other way around? Who is it that's telling the other one that you're not?
Ramsay, that you can't be a wild card or a wild.
Well, he was saying you're never going to take the
Take the
North
dog,
as
yeah.
long as the Stark is alive. And so, so it was.
But they also talked about their hut, the group they had sent out, and they found the bodies.
Right,
Karstark
right.
Found the bodies on the way back.
But it was so it was Roose telling Ramsay, you're never gonna take the North with Stark alive, and Ramsay says, well, let's just go kill Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And that's when Roose says, well, if
'Cause
you
I
do
know
that, you'll have all the kingdoms against you.
Yeah.
Which I thought which is really interesting because. So they know that Sansa's a problem, and they don't know that Jon Stark is dead. So, that's still a big deal. But the cool thing is they don't know about Bran.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, I know that's no shocker.
They don't know about Rickon either.
Right. That's true. But I mean, and
they don't know about Arya. So
oh, that's true. So it's neat to hear. It's neat to kind of have that perspective that they don't have. Is like, well, you think that you've got to take care of Sansa and Jon Snow, but then there's the other Stark kids, all plucky Stark kids are running around. So even if something did happen, they would, you have a bigger problem than what you think you do.
Right.
I just kind of thought that was sort of interesting that they don't know all this other, and they're not even talking about it because they just think they're all dead.
So it goes from there. Lady Walder's had the baby, and it's a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And Ramsay walks up to hug his dad and tell him, "Congratulations, Dad! I love you.
Love you, proud of you. It means a lot to me
good." And a pat
that
on the
you.
back and a knife in the stomach. Just kills him right there. And Ruth falls on the floor dead. Ramsay's now the new lord of the house. And he calls for the lady and the baby to come to see him.
Well,
another scene later.
so before that, so what's interesting is I like that Ramsay has been, like they were saying in the after the show, is that Ramsay's been planning it because his buddy standing behind him wasn't surprised. So he's obviously been planning that, and we're not surprised because Ramsay's a bastard and he'll just do anything. But it was cool to see. I mean, it could have just been on a whim. He stabs him, everybody's like, "Oh God, what?" But he's been planning this.
Yes. Yeah, it's cool. Moving on from there, We get back to Theon, Brienne, Brienne, Sansa, and Podrick. They're all out in the woods, starting a fire, hanging out, having a good time. Brienne's talking to Sansa about Arya, running into her and how she looked, and all these different things. So Sansa's getting to know that her sister's still alive. Brienne asks about Winterfell, but Sansa kind of closes up like, I don't want to talk about that in that moment. She goes over to talk to Theon, and Theon pretty much says, you need to go north. I would have taken you all the way, but I know I'd probably be killed when I got there, and there's no reason for any of you to forgive me for all the crap I've done to your family. And pretty much just saying, I'm going on my way, and you guys need to go your way. And I'm guessing Theon's probably going to head back home. Is where he's going to try to get to. Anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's what I think too. I mean, that whole bit was about Theon, and I think that whole thing was, because we liked Theon and then we hated him for all the stuff that he did, and now he's trying to redeem himself as best he can for all the crap that he did, and he's just going to wash his hands of all of it, go back to the Iron Islands.
Yep.
And wait, let's jump back real quick to Ramsay. Did we talk about how he called on the mother and the baby? And he
calls the baby and all them in. They meet him in the yard, and he takes her in to take a tour of the hounds, and then releases the hounds, who eat baby and baby mama.
So,
which they don't show that. So that's
thank goodness.
Yeah.
Never mind.
What?
Never mind.
Okay.
Was he actually married to her, or was he just trying to seed?
No, Roose was. Yeah.
Was he married?
Yeah, Roose was.
Yeah, he could have his weight. He could have the weight of the wife he took in gold, as well. So he married the fattest Frey, so he could have all that gold from the Freys.
Wow.
And that's why he took her. He even says that in the show.
But he's got to make her feel real good.
Right. He got as much gold for the weight of his wife or whatever, and that's why he took the big one. I'm sorry I overlooked that. We had moved on to the else.
Yeah, because that was for a minute when she said, "Please, I'll go back home." Whatever. I almost stupid me thought he was going to say, "You know what? If you leave now and never come back, you can live."
When did you ever know Ramsay to be like?
I didn't know. I thought maybe I don't know. I thought maybe it would happen, but no.
So we go from there. We head to Pike in the Iron Isles.
Mm-hmm.
We're out talking to Balon and his daughter. And I can't remember her name, but they're talking about everything that they've lost in the mainland. They've lost every foothold they had there. He's saying it's all her fault because she keeps saying these action parties to go save his brother. And she's like, duh, it's my freaking brother. But she's like, you've lost everything over there. There's no way for you to be a king. And he talks about the War of the Five Kings. Now he's the last one left. They kind of go back and forth, yelling at each other. He's finally just like, whatever, you'll fall in line or I'll get someone else to be the heir of the throne. And he kind of moseys off. Well, where Pike is set, it has rope bridges between each of the towers of the castle. And as he's crossing one, he meets a cloaked figure on one, who seems to be his brother, like a younger brother.
So I was going to ask you, was that his brother?
A pirate of some type. Now, there's a character, I think it's in book 4 or book 5, that is a Greyjoy, who is supposedly a pirate of the seas. And they cast for him, which I'm guessing this is what this character is. I don't know his name. Travis will tell us later. But I cannot remember what his name is or who he actually is. But he is a Greyjoy. He is a pirate. So he comes back, and him and Balon have a fight on the bridge. Whoop, goes Balon. He's done with the
over the edge.
The Iron Isles, which in the books he dies sooner than that, I think. And it doesn't say how he died, but nobody believed that he slipped and fell because they're so used to that walkway and everything.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And so they thought it was weird. So I'm guessing this was actually in one of the later books or going to be in one of the books that this is the person that killed him.
See, when he first started out on that rope bridge, I kind of thought that it was storming and windy. I kind of thought he would fall over. And then I was thinking, surely to God, they're used to that. Because he didn't seem like he was scared to walk out there. I was like, surely to goodness he's used to walking out on those things in this crazy weather. Mm-hmm. And then that's when the hooded guy showed up, who I thought looked pretty cool.
Sorry, we had a couple people in the chat talking.
Oh, hey, guys. Sorry, I've got the chat up over here. Hey, thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Mario and James, yes, that's why Mario wants to be killed, so he can be brought back. So we go back from there. We move on over to we go down. They're having the burial funeral for Balon. Pushing him out to sea. She's like, the daughter is like, oh, I'll show them. I'll be the best king or whatever. Yada yada yada. He's like, whoa. You don't get to choose who gets to be king. That is not your choice at all. The king is chosen in some specific way that they do it on the island, and it's like.
So I was going to ask you about that too.
You may not win.
What's he referring to?
I don't know.
Is it like some kind of battle or? I don't know.
So the guy who usually the way you become a holy man in the Iron Isles is you go out to sea and you're drowned. They're called the drowned men.
Mm-hmm.
They actually drown you and then bring you back to life with CPR and everything back on the shore. If you come back to life, you're a drowned man and you now follow the drowned god. And some people don't make it through that and they die when they're out to sea or whatever. And that's why they said you can't kill what's already dead. That's one of their statements. You can't kill what's already dead, is because they've killed themselves and brought themselves back in worship of this god. And the main guy that does it in the book is the brother of Balon. But he has taken the path of this righteousness of worshiping the drowned god and all this other stuff. So he talks about it in the book for a little while and says about this thing that they have to all go to, and they're telling him he should be king and all this stuff, and I cannot remember what that is, but they have this big whatchamajigga thing that goes on, and that's how they choose their king.
Okay.
That was probably terrible, and Travis can correct us all.
Correct us tomorrow.
Right.
So it's a lot more involved than just, okay, you're dead, next in line, you're
right.
next.
Yes. So we finally get back to the final scenes of the show, and we have Melisandre. She's kind of chilling by the fire.
Melisandre with the necklace, thank goodness.
Young Melisandre.
Yeah.
And Davos comes in. He starts talking to her, and she has doubts about her faith. And he's like, listen, you're the only person I've ever seen miracles come from. I've seen all the gods everywhere, and you're the only one I've seen anything actually happen from. Can you try at least to bring this person back?
Now, let me ask you real quick. Where did her doubts come from? Like, what's going on with her?
So she has premonitions.
Yeah.
But she has these premonitions, I think, about other people and not the person she thought it was. So she saw herself walking the towers of West Winterfell and, a great king rising up and all this stuff in the north. She's having these premonitions. She thought it was Stannis. I'm thinking she's having all this stuff because it's Jon.
Right.
And not Stannis. And that's why she doubts herself, because she's like, everything I thought went completely wrong, and I backed the wrong dude.
And I burnt a child.
Right.
Ooh, yeah.
And so she has doubts, even though her premonitions are actually telling her the truth. She interpreted them wrong.
Right.
And so she thinks she's failed. So that's where her doubt comes in. So anyway, she goes out there reluctantly, and she starts cleaning up Jon Snow, gives him a haircut.
So he's like this, without the sword, but he's like this on the table, right?
And she comes over and does her little blessings and prayers, and she's like, everybody's watching me, let me make up some words.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. Oh, Jon Snow, rise uppy.
Yeah.
And
starts pounding on his chest.
Nothing's happening. Nothing's happening.
Scroll of resurrection.
And then she looks over, and Davos like, no, it's not going to happen. And then I think it's Tormund or Thorin or whatever his name is, the guy in the wildlings. I can't think of his name. He leaves first. He's just like, whatevs, man. That's cool. He's out. Then Davos is like, all right. And Ed leaves, and everybody's taking off. And Ghost is actually asleep on the floor, just chilling. And then finally Melisandre leaves. Davos kind of stands there for a second. You're staring at him. And then he takes off out of the room, and it's all quiet. And Ghost kind of pops his head up and whimpers a little.
John's like this. And then he's like that.
He did not sit up at all.
I can't make the so he's like this, but then he's like that. And he goes, I'm alive. I told you.
When he kept showing Ghost,
he wasn't alive, man. Quit saying he was alive. He was never alive. He was dead. He was dead.
When it kept showing Ghost, I thought it was going to be like part of those rumors I heard about him coming back as kind of part of Ghost or something.
Right, because that happened in the book, right?
Well, yeah, he can warg into Wolf, or into warg into Wolf. He can warg into Ghosts, just like a lot. I mean, like Arya's had visions of stuff with her alpha dire wolf running around, where she's felt like she's been eating flesh or running with wolves and everything like that. And
Yes,
Sansa
James is
never got to
excited.
chase that.
James Weeks is excited that.
And yeah, so John wakes up right there at the end
Because he was
absolutely-
sleeping, he was really tired after getting stabbed all those times. He was never dead.
Yes, he was. He has to die. You want to be the hero, he has to die to defeat the prophecy, man. He was dead. So John died. He has been brought back as a zombie. And then Rick Grimes ran in and shot him in the face. And that was the end of the episode. And this was the great crossover from AMC and HBO.
Right.
Yes.
Nobody saw it coming.
And that is our episode. And it was a great episode.
Okay.
I don't understand why you're so surprised, because I had told you he was going to come back.
Well, listen, I'm not surprised because I knew he's the awesomest character on the show. He's my favorite. And I knew he was going to come back. But I don't want to. I love that he's back, but do you think it was too? I thought there would be more to it.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she
There was
just
nothing
like
more to the other guy either.
she.
He got sliced in half by the Hound.
Oh, are you talking about the
banners without manly banners?
or
guys.
men without banners,
Banners.
men without hats?
Doctors
That's
Without
an
Borders.
'80s band.
Doctors Without Borders. he prays for him, and he just comes back to life. And he's got a wound still, and he's just like, hey, man, I'm cool. I'm kicking it.
I don't know. I just kind of thought it would be more like I don't know. I don't know what I thought it would be because it's such a big deal. But then again, it happened literally 2 episodes after he was killed in the first place. So it's not like they dragged it. So maybe it's a good thing they didn't drag it out. Let's just go ahead and bring him back, get it over with. I just kind of thought there would be a little bit more.
Everybody says that like episode 4 is like super long, like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, it's gonna be 15
Everybody
minutes
was
long.
thinking that was what was going to happen, but now I wonder what's going to happen in that episode.
I don't know.
Probably
But
a big word.
Do you think that Opie, you made a joke about it, but do you think that he'll be just totally himself, or do you think that he's gonna have something? Is he gonna be all weak or mentally screwed up or something, or what?
Is he a zombie? Is what we're getting at. Has he lost all brain functionality?
That's a good question. I
Is he
don't
just
think
going to walk around saying Hodor the whole time?
there'll be definitely some consequences to because like the fire guy that fought the Hound, he had something wrong with him, didn't he? Wasn't he all?
Mm-mm. He was just a little bit weaker because of his wounds, but that's about it.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah, he came back pretty normal.
Yeah, he came out like 4 or 5 times. Well, dopier.
A little dopier.
Yep, he's gonna get me a lot more spaced out when he's standing around the watch,
Yeah.
kind of staring off in places like John, come here, John. But no, there was no issue with. I was trying to think if there was, but I can't remember anything with the other guy. He just came back out of it. And once his wounds were fine, he was fine. You know, maybe you feel a little bit less of a person coming back.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know if what the other guy had said before. So
it doesn't this? Don't you think that though this? I kind of hope they do put something behind it because this could be like a Deus Ex Machina of like, well, nobody has to die now because Melisandre can just bring him back.
no, I don't think that. I think they can only bring about somebody who's very important to them, and this is the guy who's supposed to be king and all this other stuff. So he becomes an important person. I don't know. It's fulfilling a prophecy. That's all that matters.
Well, that's true. I guess it's not just
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So, anyways, there you go. That is episode 2. It was super awesome.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, what favorite storyline still? Like, the thing you're still looking forward to the most?
Arya.
Really?
Arya Bran. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in the Bran storyline, which I wasn't. I've
didn't
never
really
been
care about
interested
it
in the Bran
before.
storyline until now. Now that we're getting a little bit of backstory, and he's talking about things to come, a great war, and all that kind of stuff. That, and then of course Jon Snow. And I think it would be cool to see Sansa get to the wall, reunited with Jon, and him protecting her.
I think Jamie put a whole new spin on the whole High Sparrow thing. I think that's going to be interesting to see how he handles it now that he's,
I think
back.
they're going to go in and crush the sparrows.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some stuff that goes down with them.
It's like going to be the Bloods and the Crips of King's Landing. They're about to throw down hardcore. It's just the Lannisters and the Sparrows.
How did the Sparrows, real quick before we go to, how did the Sparrows stay before Cersei put them back into power? How were they just kept underground? I mean, was it just a law or
No.
what?
They didn't have the power to form an army of any type.
Okay.
And so they were just followers and people who worshipped and everything like that. But now they can actually form a militant group. Now he has an army. That they weren't like all hanging out under the streets, like waiting there with their chains, whips, ready to roll. It was like no, it's just regular people going to church. And then when they were finally able to recruit to an army, now they have an army and people to back that up to enforce the laws of the old.
And Cersei tried to do that to screw up.
Yes.
Yeah, last and it pretty much backfired on her.
Oh yeah.
I mean, she had a reason for doing it, and then completely went the other
She
way.
wanted to keep her power, and she thought she had the highest sparrow in her pocket. I'm like, hey, you do for me, I do for you, man. And that didn't work out.
Yeah, they don't go for that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how that part came out. So anyways, guys, we'll be back on next week. We appreciate you watching us. Thanks for hanging out. This is our first live one this year.
Yeah,
we had to back off.
we meant to do it last week, but Skype was stupid. It
Yeah.
wouldn't
So
work.
come back next week. It'll be the same time, probably around. We'll start sometime between 9:30 and 10 o'clock
Central
time. We thank you for hanging out. You can always check out all our videos at youtube.com/nerdpunch or come watch us play some video games over at twitch.tv/nerdpunch. You can follow us at nerdpunch or go to facebook.com/nerdpunch or email us at nerdpunch@gmail.com.
Yeah.
We got Nerdpunch locked up is what we're
Yeah,
trying to say.
if it's social, any and all social media, it's Nerd Punch. So we were able to get that name on
James,
everything.
thank you for being here, and I'm glad you did get to catch the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad you came and chatted with us, and everybody else. Thanks for watching.
Please come by again, and we love discussing with the chat right along. We like to have your guys' interaction, so please come back in with us. We're not the smartest guys on Game of Thrones, but we love talking about it.
We love talking about it. We just can't remember names or events or when things happened or what they're talking about.
I had to write notes to remember what happened in the episode.
Yeah, who's related to who?
So, anyways, guys, we thank you all for being here. We're gonna head out. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
See ya.
Freeze frame.